On April 9th, 2004, Kay and I and our son GR, Gordie Jr., and his wife Lisa headed for an odyssey on the island of Kauai in Hawaii. Things we read about in our history books as children, but never dreamed we'd ever visit as adults. They called the island of Kauai the Garden Island. And if you've been watching this series of programs from the home videotapes that I took there, you'll understand why. Lush and beautiful, tremendous native local people who care an awful lot about their state and formerly their nation. And we'll get into some of the interviews and some of the exciting music as well in the program. This, I believe, will be the final chapter in this series, and we hope you enjoy it. And we're driving up the Waimea Canyon Road on the south shore of Kauai. We'll give you several views as we go. This canyon is a mile wide, 10 miles long, and 3,600 feet deep. There should be some rather spectacular views along the way. See what the sign says? Do not go beyond the railing. And I will show you why. We're at the top of Waimea Canyon, 4,000 feet above sea level. We haven't seen the real Grand Canyon, but Mark Twain visited this site many years ago and called it the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. And you can see why. The sights are truly incredible. This is at the 10-mile mark from the town of Waimea. As I scan back, I'll try to give you a little more panoramic view. Some of the rivers and streams that flow through this beautiful canyon. It's breathtaking in every sense of the word. Temperatures 10 to 15 degrees cooler here than down at the ocean side where we began this trip. And I would dare say the winds are somewhere between 20 and 35 miles per hour. The various layers that you see were formed by a multitude of volcanic eruptions eons ago. Cascading down the sides of the Waimea Canyon. Believe me, the song The Long and Winding Road could have been written by someone who took the trip up here today. You almost get whiplash coming around the hairpin turns and rising gradually down the road into this canyon. Try to get a view behind us and then walk to another vantage point so you can see a little bit of the roadway coming up here down through the trees. At this 10-mile marker, there's a decent lookout with restrooms and a snack wagon, and of course this is a must-see location for people who are vacationing in Hawaii, specifically on the island of Kauai. We'll move to another location. And we walk down the stairs. Get another view of this beautiful Waimea Canyon. Various colors, layers of rock. As I said before, this canyon is some 3,400 to 3,600 feet deep. It is a mile across and about 10 miles long. It's a truly amazing and wonderful view. Best viewed from this distance, I believe, for the most part. And it doesn't require a great deal of commentary if you can hear me over the breeze. It's cool, but it's refreshing today. Being here today is all the more interesting because Hawaii is not that large an island. As I mentioned earlier, the roadway does not go all the way around the island, and one has only to look at the size of these cliffs to understand why. Anyone who comes to Hawaii and doesn't see this canyon has really missed what I would consider the opportunity of a lifetime. The views today are made even more beautiful by the fact that we do have some sun shining through these thick clouds to highlight the various rock formations and the green growth along the slopes of this Waimea Canyon. It's hard to drink it all in with the naked eye, let alone through the camera's lens. And we've come to another lookout. We'll gaze over the canyon wall once again. Picked up a little mist of rain. We come up to this new lookout, so we won't be staying here a long time in the interest of preserving the electronics in this camera. But we don't want to spare you seeing some of the fabulous sights that we see here on Kauai. Try to give you a little better close-up of the canyon floor from this vantage point. It's hard to keep the hands very steady, but I'll try. And back to the original view. Well, we've gone to another lookout for what is called the island of yesterday, Ni'iahu. and we'll let you read about it. We've come out of the canyon. We thought we'd stop at Waimea and let you take a look at the Captain James Cook monument. As it says, it's a replica of the original statue in England. And here's what he looks like. We've stopped along the highway on the South Shore once again at the Salt Beach Pond Park. Beautiful swimming beach here on the Pacific Ocean. With a lot of protected places for children to play. We see people camping. Why do they call it the Salt Beach? Well, because right near us are the only natural salt ponds in Hawaii. The seawater is moved in and evaporated, and moved again and evaporated until salt is left in the middle. Let's see if I can get some pictures of a little salt for you. And then it's gathered, of course, and is wonderful on the Kilauea pigs, as we understand it. I'm not sure how many of these ponds there are, but there are several in this area. We thought it might be a fascinating bit of history for you to see that there are natural salt ponds here on Hawaii, on the island of Kauai. All this red dirt. I thought maybe the salt would be red, and maybe it does indeed have a red tinge to it. It's hard to tell. Another feature of our April vacation 2004 on Hawaii. I just thought I'd show you a picture of a very beloved creature here on Kauai. It's called a gecko. Perhaps you've seen it connected with a commercial for an insurance company. They're considered very good luck. This one is outside the window of the home in which we're spending our vacation. They make a clicking noise, and we had no idea what it was for several days until we tracked the noise down and came upon this little creature. They're various colors. We've seen them white and brown since we've been here. Several inside our home, but they eat insects and they pause only to let us take their pictures and don't show any problems at all for any of the local population. I thought you might like to see what a gecko looks like up close and personal. It moves, it crawls on its belly like a reptile. We're filming this at night with a light through a window, so that's why you're seeing a glare. But he's interesting nonetheless. He's very, very tiny. He's only about 3 inches from nose to tail. I thought I'd try him with a little night vision to see if he looks any different. I have no idea what this is going to look like when we show it back later. And I'm not sure how many people who come to Kauai spend their time on vacation taking night pictures of a gecko. But I find him kind of a neat little creature. So much for the gecko. Today is Monday, April 19th. 2 more days left on this Hawaiian vacation. And we're standing outside a local post office about a mile away from the home in which we're staying. That's a view of what I told you before was Kong, although you don't get a very good picture of his face from here. Some of the colors locally, just so you get an idea about how beautiful some of the trees are. Everywhere you look, there are some very nice flowers. And I just like to give you an idea of what the countryside looks like, because it is so different from back home. Well, we've traveled north on Route 56 about 16 or 18 miles from where we're staying to Kilauea Point in the National Wildlife Refuge, and also the famous Kilauea Lighthouse, which we'll be taking a picture of momentarily. And here's the lighthouse once again. I'll try to hold the camera as steady as I can because we're using a telephoto lens, but it's really quite a spectacular sight as we stand on Kilauea Point. And as far as I know, that is the northernmost point of the island of Kauai. Once again, the hillsides.
Yeah, we do, but take a look at this view.
Resplendent with birds and flowers. And as you might guess, a great many people come here to see this because it's a view that's familiar on postcards, drawings, and paintings ever since the lighthouse was built here many, many years ago. Once again, a little closer view of the Kilauea Lighthouse. And I think once we get a bit closer, I will try to take a snapshot, because it's really quite beautiful and worth remembering in so many ways. I think that's a good spot. A good spot to take a still photograph, right here. That's nice. As I mentioned earlier, this is the Kilauea Point National Wildlife Refuge. We've seen some familiar plants and animals since we arrived here in Kilauea almost 2 weeks ago, but also some species that we would never see in our portion of northern New York. I'll let you read some of the legends while we're here.
If you're lucky,
spot, but it's also relief.
Unfortunately, since we made our trip here, we haven't had a view of the famous humpback whale, although we viewed whales from Cape Cod on numerous occasions. Some of the highlights of our early camping vacations on Cape Cod were the humpback whale. They can be seen here from December through April, so we're waiting. We've also seen dolphins in various places along the eastern seaboard, namely off the coast of Charleston and South Carolina, but not here. And the monk seals are an endangered species. We certainly haven't seen any of those since we've been here either. And we understand that the green sea turtles are in the area. They can be pretty big, as you can see, up to 300 pounds. Once again, we haven't seen any since we've arrived on Kauai. Some of these pictures are worth capturing for posterity, and here's one. Really quite a beautiful shot. It's nice to be able to stop the waves in mid-crest. I just have to get a couple more shots of the bluff beyond the lighthouse. It captures the attention tremendously. And another still photograph of that lighthouse scene, because it's beautiful. There's a strong wind here, and we've taken a winding ride down a road toward the lighthouse. I just want you to see the vantage point we were standing at beforehand, and I also would like to have you take a look at some of the wildlife along this hillside. Just take a look at all the birds perched. None of them seem to be moving very much. They're just perched here from the bottom of this cliff to the top. Hundreds and thousands of them. Take a look at this. We're entering what we hope will be a beautiful vista to the lighthouse. This is a part of the diorama which shows the island we're on, where I'll try to zero in on the precise point where we're filming today. Kilauea Point right there. We have visited just about all the places we can see from the river, from the edges of this island all the way around. There are some places like here that are not traversable, although we did show you some spectacular views of Waimea Canyon, the state park. And although we couldn't really get a good view of the last island, the private island, we can certainly see it easily in this diorama. We'll give you a nice tour of the inside of this visitor center. so much to learn about the history of the islands, specifically Kauai, the people who live here, where they came from, and how they've managed to survive. And there's a great deal of legend and lore connected with the ancients here on the island. And it's difficult at times to separate fact from fiction. And you enjoy yourself so much when you're here, most of the time you couldn't care less. It's that nice. It's so easy to get into this way of life. Just a few days and you easily assimilate the rhythm of this island. Little background about the Hawaiian Islands and them being a destination for migratory birds and whales. How they got here over millions of years. It's something that had entered my mind. Just to give you a little perspective about where we live, way over here, and where the Hawaiian Islands are, way over here, and where Europe and Asia are situated on this wonderful globe we live on. And here we are outside Kilauea Point, an ancient volcano shaped by winds and waves. Just give you once again a little view of the area surrounding this Lighthouse Point and this wildlife refuge that we're visiting on this 19th day of April 2004. And what some of the misty remainder of this island looks like from a distance. It really is difficult to find words to describe the beauty. I'm going to take another still shot right here. It's worth preserving. And a little picture of the waves breaking over the reef or the rocks, the point of this portion of the island. That's another site worthy of a still photograph. So we'll take a picture of that. It's really neat. And here's a little piece about Hawaii's native goose. We've seen those since we've been here. I did not realize until this moment that they were nearly extinct until 1950. And there's what they look like. I really can't leave here without taking some more pictures of those birds clinging to the side of the mountain. Truly an amazing sight because there are so many, as you can easily see. Nowhere on earth have I ever seen anything like this. And here's another spot in this wildlife refuge. Talks about these special cliff-hanging plants. A lula. And to give you an idea what one of these plants looks like up close, here it is. We'll take a still photograph of that as well. You may never see another. They are very interesting, to say the least. And once again, some pictures of the native plants, and I'll let you read along. Some of these, like a bougainvillea, you've heard of. Ornamental plants and others. Some of them we've seen since we came here. Perhaps you can identify them even before the name comes up. If you think I could, you're so wrong. As we walk around the edge of this bluff, the wind seems to have died down just a little bit. But the views everywhere are really quite beautiful. As we approach the lighthouse itself, you can see a little quieter, almost like a lagoon below us. When I tell you every picture is a treasure, I'm not kidding. I'll try to make a still photograph of this one as well. And there it is. Isn't that nice? Really pretty. And I'll walk up toward the lighthouse. Unfortunately, from what we've been able to read, visitors are not allowed up inside the lighthouse. Those people who've watched this program have seen some pretty neat lighthouses around Lake Champlain, however. And I think we need to walk a little closer, and then we'll take another postcard still photograph of this magnificent lighthouse right from here. Isn't that nice? We're rolling with the video again. Taking a picture of our daughter-in-law Lisa and Kay, who had to get another roll of film because she loves birds, as you can imagine. And she's been taking spectacular pictures of birds ever since we arrived here. Some pretty nice pictures right here, I would say. What would you say? Would you say that's a nice shot right there? I'll try to still that down for you. Another postcard. Isn't that pretty? And once again the camera rolls. Here's a rather frothy view for you. As the ocean tries to break into these little nooks and crannies. I'm still learning, of course, to use this camera, but I'm blown away by how good the pictures are, in spite of the fact that my fat fingers are trying to negotiate the buttons. It's really quite nice. There's a sight that's pretty rare. I think that's the first sailboat I've seen way out in the ocean since we arrived here in Kauai almost 2 weeks ago. The image is not very steady because I'm trying to hold the camera while I use the telephoto lens. I'll give you an idea just how far away it really is. I just happened to spot it as we were walking around the White House. The lighthouse, not the White House, the lighthouse. It's a little closer view of that spectacular lens in the top of this lighthouse on Kilauea Point, along the north shore of the island of Kauai. A little girl said, "Everything's locked, you can't go." Unfortunately, we're not able to climb up to the top. Since the lighthouse itself is not active anymore, there is an auxiliary beacon, which you can see here as it turns a few feet away from the lighthouse itself. And the lighthouse is back here. Another nice shot for posterity, the Kilauea Lighthouse. That's kind of a pretty sight. All of these birds have tags on their legs, as you might be able to see. As I get a little closer to them, they're really quite colorful and quite beautiful. Here's another pretty shot of a large rock. It's right off the end of the lighthouse. Snap a still photograph of that as well. It's such a pretty picture. And we got two shots of it. Really quite pretty. To give you an idea what it looks like inside this circular structure. Those steps look vaguely familiar. We've climbed many of those steel steps in other lighthouses around the country. It's really amazing and wonderful. And unfortunately, the visitors are not allowed to the top anymore. Well, we're privileged just to be here today. Once again, far off and then distant shot of the beautiful lagoon behind and beyond this lighthouse in Kilauea Point on the north shore of Kauai. Truly beautiful in every way. Well, today is the 20th of April, one day before we leave for home after a most delightful vacation here on the island of Kauai. And we noticed nearby somebody has erected a large tent. I have no idea what the festivities might be, and I'm sure they have no idea that we're over here taking pictures of them as they walk on the canvas. Actually, it started out as a kind of a gray morning. Well, with moderate winds, the temperatures are up in the 70s already, and the prospect is for a beautiful sunshiny day, and that's appropriate for our last day here. Something else I noticed, and I might just show you a few of the roofs around the neighborhood. Something that's quite different from the roofs and the walls in the greater Plattsburgh area in New York State. There are no chimneys. But then why would you need a chimney? You never need heat. As a matter of fact, you never really need cooling here in Hawaii because the temperatures are so moderate all the time. Nighttime temperatures rarely go below 68 degrees. That's pretty darn comfortable sleeping. Daytime temperatures are almost always in the 80 to the 82 degree range, and never, even in the hottest summertime months, do they ever exceed 90. And that's pretty incredible when you stop to think about it. I'm just giving you a little view of this house that we've stayed in for the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure you can hear that rooster in the background. I was tempted to get up very early this morning and just let you hear some of the early morning sounds that greet you starting at about 4 o'clock in the morning here on the island of Kauai. It's really rather incredible, the bird sounds and the whole 9 yards. It's difficult for me to show you too much of what the beach looks like this morning because that would be shooting right into the sunshine. But believe me, it's beckoning, and I may have to take a walk over there before this day is finished. It's so beautiful. It's always good to be heading home because we love our home along the banks of the Saranac River in Morrisonville. But it's pretty darn difficult to leave such beautiful weather, such terrific scenery. And I hope in the process of traveling around and turning this camera on from time to time that we've been able to reflect our enjoyment in what we've seen in our Hawaiian vacation this year. It's a marvelous place, and there are not nearly enough adjectives to describe it. Well, how's this for an interesting turn of events? When we left Morrisonville, we had to find places to keep both of our dogs, Kia and Gus. And there are a lot of dogs running around the beaches here in Kauai, but I looked outside the door of this house where we're staying earlier today, and here was this older female dog just sitting here saying hello, wondering what we were doing, and we were wondering what she was doing. We noticed when we arrived here on the landing, there was a bowl filled with water and a little sign on the side of the bowl that says Dogga. We thought perhaps the previous tourists who were here as guests had a dog and kept the bowl full. But perhaps, just maybe, this is a neighborhood dog who likes to stop by for a drink and a pet. She looks like she's been around the wars. Her elbows are scarred, and she loves to roll around in the sand, and her whiskers are a little bit wizened. But she seems perfectly at home here, and she loves the attention that we shower on her as we love our pets at home and away. So, we don't know what to call her, except that we'll call her Dogga too. She seems totally unconcerned by the attention we're giving her, as if to say, I've been here before, just keep the water out. Throw me a bone every now and again and I'll be happy and content. Just thought I'd let you see some of the shells and stones we picked up along the beach here in Anahola, near where we're staying. Quite a variety of shells, some of which we'll be taking home to preserve as mementos of our trip, and some of which we'll give to our friends to serve the same purpose. This is in a downstairs patio, as most of the buildings here in Kauai, of course, are raised, I imagine, to guard against high surf. This is the last day before we have to leave this beautiful island and put this vacation in Hawaii behind us. I'll just walk a little bit around the building. You can get an idea what our surroundings are like in case I haven't shown them to you before. I'm walking into the backyard. There are cobwebs connecting almost every tree and shrub. Perhaps you can see some of the spiders and their webs above me. It's amazing. Their spider webs are connected across almost any expanse. It's late in the afternoon and we'll be heading for dinner very quickly now at about 5:30 to a nearby restaurant. We're in a good location along the northeast side of Kauai, and almost all of the island is accessible from here by routes 50 and Route 56 and various of the roads that turn inland as far as the roads can go. Just to give you an idea, some of the buildings that are nearby, perhaps I can go in slowly. You see what some of the countryside looks like. When they say this area is lush, they aren't kidding. Many kinds of plants and animals nearby. We have the best of almost all vacation worlds here in Kauai, as we're in the midst of wonderful flowers and plants and lots and lots and lots of chickens. We're also directly across the street from the beach and that fabulous Pacific Ocean. I'll just walk around toward the front of the house we're staying in. Our vacation here is everything we expected and a great deal more. That's a neighbor's house. And here's a little shot of our rental car and the house itself in which we're staying. That's what they would call the balcony or the lanai. We spent a great deal of our time up there looking at the ocean, which, as I said before, is directly across the road. Tremendous views of tourists and vacationers here on Hawaii, spending a lot of time along these incredible beaches. Perhaps you can get an idea of the beauty, and as I've said in so many of the postcards and letters I've written, and I'm sure we'll do more before we leave tomorrow, we wish you were here. We understand that before we return and shortly after we leave, there will be another addition added onto this house right about here. The people who own this house are from, we believe, from Southern California. A woman has a daughter who lives somewhere nearby, and she comes to clean it up and get it prepared for the next guests or the family. There are a total of 4 bedrooms, 3 downstairs bedrooms, including a master bedroom and 2 smaller rooms, and an upper room, as I've called it, with 2 twin beds that constitute a loft. So it's comfortable. It has all the comforts of home, including a downtown shower, a nice place where people can relax and cook an outdoor meal on a patio downstairs, and a washer and dryer, and of course 2 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms and 2 showers, 2 bathrooms. So it's just terrific all the way around. And I won't quip that this is the Last Supper, but this is the last evening meal we're having during our Kauai vacation at a place called the Lemongrass Grill Seafood and Sushi Bar, which is located at Kapaa, a town only about 5 or 6 miles from our vacation home. Kay and Lisa, and everywhere you look, it's quaint, wonderful, just a really neat vacation spot. For example, take a look at this. Where else would you see a site like this along a main highway? Combination of the Oriental and the Western flair. When I say you get the best of all worlds in Hawaii, I mean what I say. This is the main drag, Route 56, going north and south, heading north around the east shore and northern shore, and then combining up with Route 50 to take you around the south and western shore. This is the morning of the last day for our vacation in Kauai, with the roosters crowing. We've just finished witnessing about a 20-minute intense rainstorm. When I say storm, I don't mean that there was wild winds or anything, just very heavy rains. And as is common here, it will rain for a short period of time, a half hour, 45 minutes, 10 minutes, and then it's over. And now you're seeing the aftermath, the remnants of the rain. Things will be dried up here within a half hour because we have relatively bright sunshine in many quadrants of the sky right now. I'm standing on the Lanai, or the balcony of our porch. When we first came here, we were interested in coconuts. And you remember a man whose name in Hawaiian means the mist of the waterfall, Kawaiiwai, showed us how to bring the coconuts out of the trees and how to cut them up. We had the pleasure of being able to interview him later as he was selling coconuts and talking to people and showing us the baskets that he and his family had woven. It's a rather beautiful day, and yes, we leave Kauai reluctantly. However, we also love our home in Morrisonville, New York, and we'll be delighted to get back there. It doesn't take very long for all of this extra water to be absorbed. I'll just try to show you how the water sits on top of the sand for a little while and then is absorbed by the sand. Things will continue to grow. This is a very lush portion of the island of Kauai, so you see a lot of greenery around you. Many plants we've never seen before. This is a view of the loft. None of us chose to stay up here. There are twin beds and the bright window to the rear of the house. It's a nice space for people who, for example, came here with families. I'll give you an idea what it looks like down in the kitchen area. It's a very comfortable home. Well, Mike, we finally got a chance to meet you in person and talk to you. How you been?
All right, all right.
What's your last name?
Grace.
Mike Grace.
Yeah, it's a nice Hawaiian name.
That's a great Hawaiian name. Tell me a little bit about yourself. We know your neighbors. We know you run a bed and breakfast right next door to where we're staying. Where were you born and brought up?
I was born in Honolulu, brought up in Honolulu, but because of the movement today on natives, on trust lands and all like that, now they want to make us like the Indians. But we're not Indians. We wasn't born over there, so we're not Indians from there. I'm saying that this was a nation state, and it should be a nation state. I love my country, and everybody loves their country. So we should bring back our country. There was a nation state that got taken away, yeah, because of in 1897 we had they said they annexed us, but they had 40,000 people at that time that made a petition to Washington saying they didn't want to be annexed, and then they found it in 1998 in the archives, the petitions. So now we're telling the United States that I think we should have our country back, because we was a nation state like them at that time.
So what do you think? What do you think the prospects are for getting that done?
Well, we're only trying to say if they should follow their laws on the international. That we're not no bloodshed, no nothing for 111 years. Well, we just saying follow. They should follow their own laws that they preach.
So you were born over there in Honolulu.
Yeah.
And when did you come over here to Kauai?
In 86 to fight a legal battle against the county using native lands illegally for 23 years, not paying rent to the natives.
Ooh. Is that a battle you're winning or not?
No, we lost because you can't get no justice from the system over here. Because they're saying that, there's a conflict of interest over here. I'm saying that there is. The conflict of interest is that, hey, you guys talking about native lands and you guys running it like state land.
So you bought, when did you buy this place?
I didn't buy it. They gave it to me. It's my right. As Congress gave us in 1920 that 50% Hawaiian has the right to have lands. So they gave it out. But there's a 20,000 on the list, and about 40,000 died waiting for their lands that they didn't get.
You feel really strongly about this, don't you?
Well, yeah, after studying, you start feeling strongly. And then you start learning history, and you start learning that, all our history was wrong anyway.
Isn't that amazing how that works?
Because the first history book I read, the Hawaiians was happy they gave it to the United States. And the second one I read, that they blamed the Queen, for stubbornness. And now I read another one, it's saying it's all different on the international.
Oh, boy. So
it's like a political correctness. I'm not looking at the political correctness.
I can tell.
I'm looking at the law.
I can tell.
What is the law?
So tell me, did you build this house on this land or what?
Yeah, me and my friends, yeah. I got the drawings together and everything, and then I got an architect to make it like the way I wanted it, and then I built it. Yeah.
And that was in the 80s?
That was about maybe 96. Like that.
Oh, so only about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Ah, and did you start running it as a bed and breakfast right away or what?
Yeah, we had to. Me and my wife. My wife comes from Hollywood, California.
Come on.
LA. Yeah.
Come on.
And so
you just started. You started as a bed and breakfast right after you built it.
Getting old in our age, and we said, "Well."
Nah, you're a young guy. Come on.
Huh?
You're a young guy.
No, I'm 57 already.
Are you really?
Yeah.
10 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
So what's your day like? What do you do in the course of a good day?
I try to see if we can get bed and breakfast and keep them happy. Yeah. Like, entertain them, and tell them where to go and feed them.
Everybody who comes here loves the climate here. I mean,
yeah, it's a nice climate. Yeah.
People say, gee whiz, you had some rain. Well, we had a little rain, but look at it now.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It only rains for a half an hour, and then the sun comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, you wait 15 minutes, the weather change something.
Have you visited every place that you can on this island, or do you stay pretty much to yourself here?
Oh, I visit all over.
Do you?
Yeah.
There are...
I've been living on the beach about maybe 30, 40 years.
Really?
Yeah, before the system came and said, it's a no-no because they're saying that it's an eyesore to the tourists.
Come on.
Yeah. They started calling me, squatters, and they say, we're homeless, and now, how can I be homeless, I got land, but I ain't got no home. Yeah.
Well,
I'm houseless.
Well, you're not.
But I love the beach.
Oh.
I meet people all over the world just staying on the beach.
It's a wonderful life, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just like a refrigerator. Everything's fresh there.
I like that idea. That's wonderful. Well, Mike, tell me a little bit about your music. One of the first things I heard when we came here was you playing guitar and singing one morning, and I was amazed.
Yeah.
How did that start?
It started from my aunts and uncles that used to play music before, yeah. And we used to go to luau's, you know. Everybody went to luau's. All the aunties and uncles used to get together and play music. Everybody plays music.
Do they really? Everybody sings,
most
plays music?
Yeah, because that's the nature of natives, you know. They like the music, yeah.
Well, we love the music too. I mean, I had no idea that Hawaiians had so many different kinds of music.
Oh yeah, right now it's getting, I guess, out into the international world, which is what Israel Kamakampiba'ole, which is, he was one of them that he made Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and another portion of, what's that, in fact, 2 songs, and then he put it together and he became famous.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Well, you've been doing it then almost all your life,
yeah.
Playing music?
Yeah.
But you did it professionally, you said, for a while?
Well, off and on.
Off and on? Somebody needs you, you said, for a wedding over here, you grab your guitar and take off, huh?
Yeah.
How many different songs do you know? Do you have any idea?
I don't know, all kinds in my head. I mean, I got a variety. You can call it, I call it, variety, you know. From reggae to, you know, Hawaiian, cowboy.
Do you really? Western music too? Country songs? Yeah. Hawaiian music? You play both the guitar and the ukulele?
Yeah. And now I'm trying to play the synthesizer.
Come on, really?
Yeah.
You got one?
Yeah, I got one.
You never?
I'm learning. I'm trying to learn.
Trying to learn the keyboard?
Yeah, I play by ear.
Oh, all on your own then?
Yeah.
Just pick the melodies up? You never took any formal lessons of any kind?
No, I don't know too many chords. Just simple chords.
Well, it sounded great to me. Up over the Lanai, as we sat up there in the balcony and watched you one day, we were just blown away, and you were just doing it to practice for your own enjoyment.
Yeah.
I think music is for everybody, don't you?
Yeah, it's good. It soothes the beast in you.
I don't know about the beast, but it sure was soothing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know where we'd ever be without music.
Uh-huh.
Hold 1 second, I'm going to go and get another tape and change tapes, and then maybe I can get you to get your guitar out for a couple of seconds. Would you do that for me?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, hold on.
Okay.
I'm back here with Mike. I got a brand new tape in, and he's going to play a couple of songs for us to let the folks back home in New York State know what it's like on this beautiful island of Kauai. What are you going to play for me, Mike?
How's about Grandpa?
Okay.
But in Hawaii. Right?
Okay.
Tutu Kani. Tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels like this whole place is gone crazy. Tutu Kani. Oh, take me back to yesterday, when the line between right and wrong didn't feel so hazy. Do lovers really fall in love to stay? Stand beside each other, come what may. And promises were something that people kept, and nothing just something they said and forget. And families will bow their heads to pray. Daddies never really go away. Whoa, tutu, tutu, kani. Tell me about the good old days. Do lovers really fall in love to stay? Stand beside each other, oh come what may. And promises were something that people kept, and not just something they said and forget. And families will bow their heads to pray. Daddies never really go away. Oh, tutu, tutu, kani. Tell me about the good old days. Tukani. Oh, take me back to yesterday. Sometimes I feel like this whole place is gone crazy. And Tukani, let's return back to the past and paint me a picture of long ago, something like that. Two lovers really fall in love to stay, stand beside each other, oh come what may. And promises were something people kept, and not just something they said and forget. And families will bow their heads to pray that it never really go away. Oh, Tukani, tell me about the good old days. Oh, Tukani, tell me about the good old days.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. Is that a song you learned a long time ago, or?
No, it's made in America.
Really?
The judge used to say.
You gotta be kidding. I never would have guessed.
Grandpa.
Really? That's called Grandpa?
Yeah. Tell me about the good old days.
Let me ask you a little question before you play me another one, Mike. Were you brought up speaking the Hawaiian language?
A little, yeah. And then, you know, I can sing it but not speak it very well.
Do Hawaiian parents not teach their kids Hawaiian? Don't they learn it in school?
There was a law, you can't speak Hawaiian. If you have to speak Hawaiian, you get beaten up.
When was that?
That was doing in the 1800s, 1900s.
No kidding. Had to speak English.
Yeah, but now they changed it, and then now they got an emergency class there. Luckily we got it because now it's bringing back now. The kids are all speaking Hawaiian.
It would be terrible if that culture were lost because of laws, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. So what else would you like to sing? Just one more song. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I love your music.
Sing a song from Kauai. Yeah.
That'd be great.
There's an island across the sea, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, and it's calling, just calling to me. Beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, in the midst of Fern Grotto, Mother Nature made her home. In the falls of Wailua, where lovers often roam, I return to my island across the sea. Beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, in the midst of Fern Grotto, Mother Nature made her home. In the falls of Wailua, where lovers often roam, I return to my island across the sea. Beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, Nani o Kauai, beautiful Kauai.
That's beautiful.
It's a favorite tourist song. But here's one. This one was made from my friend Nico Martin. The song tells more Hawaiian and everything. And it's like a folk song. I have traveled from place to place, some familiar, some are strange, to hear the ancient chanting of my home. I have listened to the stories, my eyes have seen the glory, so let us raise our voices in songs to save our land. Hawa iloa kulikikaku, kupa ame kalokahi ehe kukalame. Kaibole one pa akaku la nakila nakili e ola nakili From the stone walls of cities of refuge we learn the sacred ways. Upon Waipea Valley flow the ancient battles rage. From the barren slopes of Kaho'olawe to the shores of Kanave, we shall claim our lands from the barking sands to the valley of Hanalei. All Hawaii stands together. It is now and forever. Raise your voices, hold your banners high. For we shall stand as a nation, guide our destiny to our generation, to sing and praise for the glory of our land. Hawa iloa kulikikaku, kupa ame kalokahi e kukalame. Kaibole one pa akaku la nakili e ola nakili. From the fiery pits of Tutupele, I hear my mother's call. Oh, Tutukani and Mahonakel, send their love to all, to be as one under the sun. And Hale Akalaha for our sweet Ka'ala, and Vai Ale for the greatest waterfalls. Hawa iloa kulikikaku, kupa ame kalokai e kukalame. Kaibole one pa akaku la nakili e ola nakili. Eola nakili.
Ah, beautiful song.
Thank you very much.
Mike, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple more questions. How often do you get back to Honolulu?
Not too often nowadays. It's expensive, but
Yeah. Do you,
$100-something a trip going and coming.
yeah. Do you have relatives back there?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of family all over the island, but my real family is on the Big Island, and that's where my dad and mom comes from.
Really?
Yeah. If we get a reunion, we get about 10,000 families. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You have to believe.
And we
you
thought
have
we
to
had a
believe
big
that,
family.
You have to believe that because you only had so much canoes came on the island and made everybody else. So I believe that I have the royalty in me, and I have the maka'ainana, which is the lower class. So we got everything. some people say that they are the kings and queens. I said, we are all the kings and queens. We only had so many canoes came and made everybody else, you know.
Well, if you want my opinion, I think you're a pretty high-class guy. I thank you so much for spending a little time with us and making our visit to Kauai a real special vacation, Mike.
Thank you very much.
It's good to meet you, and I can almost promise you we'll be back again sometime.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
That's what they all say. Yeah, they'll be back. They come back.
We'll be back. See you later, Mike Grace.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah.
You really made it very special.
And just when you think you've seen it all, look at this site. We've been looking for a place out in the country to meet a gentleman who raises taro. His name is John, and we turned down a road that was obviously the wrong road, but for the beauty we've been able to see since we arrived here, it's actually the right road. It's really quite beautiful. A country road, a single lane bridge, a fabulous stream. Who could ask for more? It seems like every turn we take on Kauai shows us more beautiful country. We couldn't help but stop the car. After our conversation with Mike Grace earlier today, we just are taking a leisurely ride toward the airport at about 11:30 on the 21st. And my daughter-in-law, Lisa, spotted this sign and we stopped the car. And if we had time, we would be interviewing the people here. Apparently there's a great deal of local sentiment toward this end that we weren't aware of, but we should have thought about as we made our trip here today. Very interesting. We're on the road toward the airport. Just to give you an idea, we've learned to pronounce some of the names. We know how to say Kapa, Princeville, and Hanalei. Might as well give you a little flavor of the countryside while we're standing here along the roadway. As I've said so many times since we began this great vacation, it's all beautiful. It's all very, very interesting. And I have to underline the fact that this is a relatively small island. That's the beauty of it. And here's another sign that leads up to where the truck was located. We're going to take a walk over there and see what the man has to say. Well, we managed to cross the road and take a picture of this sign. Hopefully get a little flavor of what this is all about. All right, we took our lives in our own hands and made it across this busy highway today. And now we're going to meet the man who makes the sign, who has a real story to tell. How you doing?
Aloha.
Tell me what your name is.
My name is Mark Boiser.
Mark?
I am Boiser. It's a French name actually from my great-grandparents.
Have you been on this island all your life or what?
I spent 58 years of my life on this island here. The Kanaka language is the Moku. The Moku is an island in our language. I spent 4 years in the United States Navy. I spent out of Norfolk, Virginia, out of Little Creek with the UDT team out of Little Creek, Virginia. I went to Vietnam on 2 tours. I understand the United States exploitation of other countries and cultures and race in the name of money. I'm over here basically, I did the restoration on this heiau about 9 months ago. And when I first came upon this land, I was having this given to me, and the voice of get off this land. And so in the race of my language and the language of my people, I gotta be pono. And pono in the language means to be just. Now, I gotta be humble and pono because when I understood Mahatma Gandhi in India, and he said that to raise an army, you'll be met by an army. I know that Goliath, the United States, has the most arms and the biggest arm on earth. So me, little Mark Boyza, is the David trying to fight the Goliath. Interesting about the history of the people. About 1893, the United States overthrew a nation, not a tribe as the American Indians. They overthrew a Polynesian nation separate by continent and an existing democratic monarch kingdom. They overthrew that. Well, about 1993, Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, said to our people, "We apologize for the overthrow of your nation." But at the end of that apology, Bill, they also said that there's a disclaimer that the United States cannot be liable, which is a standard operation of the United States. Now, about a year and a half ago, I gave up my American citizenship. I went back to be a renounced American as a Kanaka Maoli of this land. Kanaka means mankind, Maoli means aboriginal of the land. I gave that direction in my life back to the United States, and I came back to my people for a couple of reasons. But the biggest reason is to genocide a race. Genocide doesn't have to occur by death of killing in a war. Genocide can occur when you remove the culture and the race and the language, and you divert the race into another race. They can be also known as genocide. So between the genocidal part of my people and the exploitation of the rich upon the Hawaii's lands that came from Colorado and California and buying all the lands and saying this is their land, their America. I decided about 7 years ago to study international law, and I've been doing this for 7 years. And the only thing I search for at the present time is the truth. See, I understand that at the present time the United States is in Iraq promoting a provisional government under the word sovereignty. Well, that is the same exact replica of what happened 111 years ago as a nation, not a state. They annexed by 6 conspirators. You're going to hear the name Stanford Dole, Dole Pineapple Company. He was one of the conspirators that overthrew the Queen in the interest of the military and the 6 conspirators. They made annexation from a provisional government. They made annexation, territory, and statehood. 100 years later, the United States apologizes to our people saying the overthrow, we are sorry about it. I'm telling the United States, I'm not sorry about it. I would love for you to leave and let us govern ourselves and our own people and our lands. You stole them, we like them back, brother.
Well, how do you think your battle is going right now?
The battle is as long as the people of this land continue to be comfortable, and I'm going to use the word comfortable because as long as the United States give them a job, give them a car and a home, Safeway shopping center and Chevron gas station, they will not go against the system or fight the system. They will agree with the system because they're comfortable. Now, you can be comfortable all you want to be, but when the United States says pay my taxes, and if you don't pay my taxes, I'll remove you from your land, then they all bitch about that comfortability. Well, I don't want to bitch no more. I want to be comfortable with my own race and my own lands and my own governing body. But 1998, the Hawaiian Kingdom was reinstated. They have a prime minister, a speaker of the house, the legislative body, and the executive branch of a nation that was reinstated in 1998. We have the nobles and representatives of each island in place, trying to tell the United States that if you apologize for the overthrow and you said that we have the given right to become a nation, then show us the nation. Give us back our nation.
How many people do you think big truck went by. How many people do you think believe the way you do?
About, if you look at a race by blood quantum, and that's how the governing bodies of the United States govern a person, by saying that you are percent of whatever race you are. Now, the question you just asked, I would say probably people with cocoa, people with blood of this race. I would say about 50% of its people believe what we do is right for our people. The other 50%, I call them Americans, comfortable Americans. But if the United States in the future should say to the people of this land, we're going to give you back your land and your nation, I'll guarantee you that they'll be jumping over the fence faster than a bunny can hop, coming back to this land. The people of this land will not be, let's use the word haole. The word haole doesn't mean to be a color of white skin. The word haole means to be a foreigner upon my land, a foreigner. So whenever they use the word haole, the first thing the tourists or the people that came from the mainland here say that it's a derogatory statement. It isn't. If they would just know the language of our people, it says foreigners. The Japanese are haules, the Filipinos are haules, everybody's a haole, except us. Okay? So, I would say about 50% have that idea that we should be free on our own lands. The other 50 is, like I said, they're still Americans.
Well, besides doing what you're doing with us today, so we can show this back in New York State,
Please do.
you have, you said one of the local television stations is coming to interview you today.
Oh, wonderful.
So there are a number of people at least giving you a chance to preach your message, so to speak.
Well, because the United States apologized and we are going to go in front of the World's Court in Hague and the United Nations and the doorsteps of the Supreme Court, we're going to say to them that if you apologize, then what you really did was the admittance of wrongdoing. In the apology bill, you said bluntly the overthrow of a nation. You bluntly admitted that you overthrew a nation. You didn't overthrow a tribe or whatever. So we're going to have the nations of the world ask you the question that if you stole this land from these people and you did the same thing to the Iraqi people at the present time and giving them a provisional government, then you should give this government back to its people. And if you want to believe in the truth, when you sit in the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., wherever you sit in the world, and as a person that comes to Hawaii believe that this is America, then they still want to believe the lie. The truth will always supersede the lie. You got to imagine, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, they gave Japan back in '46. When they killed 6 million Jews in the ovens in Germany, they gave Germany back. They gave East Timor, they gave South Africa, they gave all the Russian communist states back to its sovereignty, never to the people of this land. So I'm saying to the people of New York, believe me, we have plenty love for all of the humans on earth. It is not a person thing, it is a pride and a race and a culture thing. And aloha.
Do you come out here every day?
I'm retired from GTE. I come out just to water my plants and clean. I'm cleaning the back of the Heiau, which is a church. I have been battling the state courts, the Department of Land and Natural Resources, the Department of Hawaiian Homes, which is all entities of the United States. They had tried to remove me from the land, and I use the word constitutional right under freedom of religion under their law. And they don't want to take me to court under that law because they know they're going to lose. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I come out here about every other day. I usually park my truck and I bicycle ride, 20, 30 miles, and then I come back.
No wonder you're in such great shape.
Yeah, I've been doing biking for 14 years.
Oh, that's magnificent.
And so, the Polynesian people, whether from Samoa, from Fiji, Tonga, New Zealand, Maoris, whatever. And I just came back from New Zealand and I had a month down the studies with the Waitangi Treaty of the Maoris, which occurred the same way as the Kanakas of here. And I went to the northern province on Australia and it said with the Aborigines up in Cairns, up in the Daintree Forest. And I understand all the Aboriginal people on earth were really screwed. We're really screwed. So I'm trying to unscrew the screw. How's that one, brother?
That's a very eloquent way to put it. Best of luck in everything you do, and thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
See you later.
For this opportunity.
To paraphrase a famous newscaster, and that's the way it was in Hawaii in April of 2004 with Kay and I and our family. Just a delightful time. We thank you all for always watching these programs. We entertain your suggestions and your comments anytime you want to give them to us, and who knows where we're going to be next time with this program we call Our Little Corner.